Doing this on the hashtag BGH pre-show because that's what I send out in the Patreon email. Then I found out Casey was using a different hashtag on the Twitter, so that's great.
He's using BGH Live.
Oh, I usually have him tweet too. Like, hey, send us questions. Once I push the email live.
We can schedule those.
I know we went over this though. I want it to happen as soon as we go live, but I don't. That's different every week. Because it's like people interacting with us.
I'll tweet right damn now.
And you can maybe put something in there about like, I don't care what the questions are about. Make them dumb. Who cares? Oh my god, that sound.
Really? Have you ever heard your keyboard on a recording?
No, you can't hear mine anymore because my mic is up off my desk.
Sounds like you're just like slapping wooden spoons on your desk. Slapping wooden spoons.
Okay, just hit send on the post.
Done.
What's going on with you?
Who, me?
No, the other person I'm talking to.
Just looking at the website. Excited to talk about it. I have like nothing to do this holiday weekend, so I will hopefully be spending more time with it. I tweeted.
Yeah, so all of a sudden Skype is giving us all actual widescreen. If you go back and watch any of the other videos, we're all like more like squarish, like chopped off. And now all of a sudden we got a whole shot. So if you notice, you can actually see the diapers and shit behind me now that you couldn't see before.
The true horror.
Yeah. It's really weird.
Your mic cut out for a second. Is that a...
No,
Maybe you were just moving shit around?
maybe.
That is funny. It's like your little like nerd shelf and then diapers.
It's the man baby room because it's literally half man room, half baby room.
Half man, half baby. B. Lassiter asked this question during the live show last week, but I think we had already gone live with the show. Did you ever find two more Southern words? So when I tweeted that out, I should have specified two words that sound more ridiculous in a Southern accent because I didn't realize I was inviting like lots of pretty offensive.
Well, what you forgot
was
you are now family with actual Southern people, and you have a lot of friends who would take the opportunity to be like, "Fucking your cousin."
Oh no, I deleted a couple
Oh, I
cousin
saw
fuckers
him.
from.
I saw him.
Yeah, I deleted some of them, mostly the really obscene ones. But yeah,
Frankly, they were funny. You just forgot about your audience.
Well, and I also didn't mean it. I kind of meant it in a somewhat endearing way. I'm actually kind of enjoying all of the accents, but frog gigging definitely got the most votes. Like seriously, by a long shot.
That was funny though. I didn't notice that.
I want to say like eight or so people said frog gigging. Also, because the words frog gigging popped up in my feed so much, I'm getting like, you can actually buy like frog spears at Bass Pro Shops. So I'm getting ads for the actual implement with which to gig a frog. So that's a thing that's happening now. It's kind of, I was like, I saw that and it made me sort of sad. I was like, oh, that's a thing you can buy, but I guess that's no different than any other hunting equipment. It just seems like particularly sad for some reason. Is this what it's like? You're not going to listen to things I say?
Sorry, I'm trying to do some research on the director.
I'm
So
just
that,
talking about how sad I am that you can buy an actual frog gig.
oh, like, man, I don't use none of them corporate frog gigs.
It's like a
Mine's
pitchfork.
pure, old school.
Oh my God. The questions that I'm going to have to read when we get to the show.
Sup?
Yo, we are live.
Oh, hello.
Hey.
All right, I'm gonna go do a couple things, including get some bacon that I just made. So,
Oh, it's easy now that you're here. I'm out.
I
See ya.
bought a huge, like literally, like
Hey.
I bought like a sack of, like basically pork belly from Trader Joe's. Just like, hey, here's a bunch of pork belly. It's like $2, and it was all like crammed in this like vacuum pack. So I just threw it all in the oven, kind of see what comes out.
I love
So I
pork
mean, is
belly.
it like, does it still look like a pork belly, or is
No,
it
it's like bacon, but
stripped?
it's like bacon scraps, almost like weird
Gotcha.
sized pieces. Some of it's really thick. It's a lot of fat. It's just like a ton of fat.
A ton
I
of
thought
fat.
you said eyes and pieces. Just
No.
cooking up some pig eyes.
I mean, I guess you could be making hot dogs.
Yeah.
That's true. Ground up pig eyes. Sweet. Okay. I think that was some off-camera communication, but it looked really creepy.
Wife
What?
Laura's attempting to put the baby down.
Ah.
Everyone be quiet.
Well, it's just funny because you like looked off to the side
Yeah.
like you were being summoned
didn't-
by some
I
being.
didn't want to.
I've seen Unfriended. I know how this
I
happens.
didn't want to make any sudden movements. All right, I'll be right back.
All right. How's it going, Cece?
Oh, you know, just hanging out.
Just hanging out.
Yeah, I'm trying to find something in this room that I can put my computer on, because I like looking up instead of down.
Oh,
But look at our lovely record collection.
I know. That's a cool backdrop.
Yeah, I thought that was better than my studio that I've still yet to clean, you know, that I've talked about it being dirty for 3 months now.
That's like how I think about the website. It's like dirty, and then I clean it every now and then.
You know, that's how it
I'm
works.
excited about getting a house and an office so that I can make my own room again.
Well, it's great until you use it to basically just like throw a bunch of crap in there and then you never clean it, which is kind of what happened.
Well, you missed Eric showing on camera that those shelves to the right of him is full of diapers.
Oh yeah, well, that's what happens.
And I thought that was a jug of an actual jug of milk sitting behind him, but I think it's water for the iron.
I think it's water. I'm gonna go with water.
Jug of milk.
Oh god. Hold on a second. I think I found something. I'm gonna.
So we got a question, and I know I'm here by myself. Alex, 40 Ounce Heroes. Stopping by the pre-show only since I might watch this movie in a couple hours quick. Would you recommend? Yes, totally. And you should take me on my word and my word only. So I was talking while you were gone because we got a question.
Oh yeah.
I just couldn't wait. Alex wanted to know if he's stopping by the pre-show because he wants to know if he should see the movie.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah,
I
that's
feel like that's probably gonna be a unanimous yes.
And don't watch the trailer ahead of time.
Yeah. Don't.
You know, I don't know that I saw. Well, I guess I did see a trailer on TV, but that's kind of like one of the thing that happens now that I'm living in the suburbs with the in-laws is that we see an ad on TV and then everyone's like, "Are you gonna have to go see that?" And I'm like, "Yes, I sure am."
Yeah. I don't know that I saw any on TV. I mean, we have like just the very basic cable, so I don't know that it was on like ABC or anything. But pretty much every movie I've seen in the past 2.5 to 3 months has had this trailer in front of it. or the very first trailer, I guess.
This is so. We have another question, but I'm just gonna How about that? So this is news to me. Pitman 1382. What do you guys think about the Let the Right One In TV show?
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Apparently, it's getting a TNT adaptation from the series creator of Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Teen Wolf series?
Although I've heard that it's good, I haven't watched it, maybe I did try and start watching it, but I felt like I was way too out of the like demographic to watch it.
Yeah.
But you know,
I don't think it's like necessary. Certainly.
no, definitely not. I mean,
Right?
you already have a remake. I don't think we need a TV show on top of a remake.
I also wonder, like, how are you gonna make something that consistently weird? You know?
I mean, I'm sure that it's probably going to end up like Vampire Diaries. Like, it'll start out as them becoming friends, and then either them having to kill people to feed the vampire, or I don't know.
Are they kids? Are they grown up?
There's so many questions now.
I don't know.
Oh, hold on.
I'm gonna start saying that's something that ruined my 20s. That TV show ruined my 20s. Wait, why is there another call? Nope, never mind. Disappeared. I think Joe's trying to get in.
Oh,
I can invite him. Let's see if that works.
that might help.
I'm taking this call into my own hands. Yeah, here we go. Beep boop, ba-deep. I don't know if that worked. Oh, there he is, I think.
Sup? Ooh, you sound so far away.
Oh.
The arsonist had oddly shaped feet. I don't know why my head just went here, but are any of you watching Vice Principals?
Yes.
Oh my god, I love it.
God.
I wasn't sure. I've actually never seen a full episode of Eastbound and Down. But I like the first couple episodes, I were like, I think this shtick is going to like grow old. And then
But it hasn't.
and then it's like it turned into like a really nice show. It's like a nice show about people who are assholes and mean to each other.
Yeah.
That guy, I always forget his name. The guy who plays the other vice principal is
Walton Goggins.
he is amazing.
I love him. Like,
Yeah.
he is.
Did you watch Justified?
I've started watching it because I know he's like the main bad guy,
He's
but
so awesome on it. He is so great.
I really liked him as Venus in Sons of Anarchy.
He's really
We did-
funny on that new show. Is that what you guys talking about?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
we're just
Vice
talking
Principal.
about.
Talking about Vice Principals.
So I hadn't watched it at all, and then I just randomly tuned into the episode where they burn the woman's house down,
Oh,
and I'm like, man, this show's insane.
that's really
Yeah.
where like I think that was like episode 2.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the first episode was kind of like, oh, this is pretty funny, but then that one, like that's where stuff like really kind of starts to go insane.
All right, we need a couple things. Cece,
Yes.
is there any way you could get your mic a little closer to your face?
Here, how about this?
Oh,
Is this better?
Oh my
Can you
God.
hear me?
yeah, you sound
Is
great.
this better?
No, that's too close.
Oh,
Somebody's pulling
What
a
about
Charlize
now?
tonight.
We all.
better for real.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it
okay.
was. Yeah.
Could
But
you
did-
do it the
Wait,
same?
hold on.
Yeah.
Say something again.
Who, me?
Who?
Yeah, Cece.
Oh, something?
Mark, say something.
Cece, speak.
Cece, did you just turn your mic down or something when you had your hands on it?
No, I mean, I was just covering it.
Oh, okay, there you go. Now you're good. Yeah.
You sound like
Cover.
Should I be
Like-
covering
no,
it
no,
every time I
not.
talk?
But like where you are, you sound really good.
okay,
so,
I'll just stay
I
here.
mean,
Mark sounds a little dookie to me. Is it just me?
yeah, he just got a little robot-y, but it's not too bad.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah,
Well, I'm trying to close down all my extra internets, but
it might. You sound a little compressy. It might just be
Yeah.
catching up. It's
I
not
don't know.
like
I didn't sound great last week, but like I have the exact same setup as I did before, so I don't know what's going on.
I thought you sounded all right.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I didn't notice it last week.
As long as you did.
We need show topics, and then we can start.
Are you guys doing a tweet with BGH this Sunday?
Yeah, hold on. I got info on that actually. Well, I want to talk about the website. I've got a bunch of I've got some shit to say.
Website.
That's right. About the internet and website.
Anybody get refresh my mind? What trailers did we get that were fun? Fun trailers.
I mean, I saw Morgan again.
Yeah,
I don't know
think
that I saw anything new.
No, nothing I can think of either. There was
Okay.
a Blair Witch, but I think it's the same
Oh,
one.
it was the first time I got the Blair Witch with the full title and stuff and reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're going real Blair Witchy with it now that it's like now that it's revealed.
And the bloody disgusting quote is it's like redefining horror or something about like literally horror.
A new beginning for horror or something.
horror, yeah.
That's right.
I can't watch Blair Witch related shit anymore because every time I see someone looking in the corner, I hear Joe's German accent.
Oh, it's Blair Witching.
Get in the corner. I'm going to Blair Witch you
I'm
now.
going to witch you.
I am the Blair Witch. You will be Blair Witch tonight. I made spooky little stick figures. I hang them from the trees.
Oh Lord. Yeah, I have the information on too with BGH, and I've got some website shit. I was gonna say I could talk about the poster for Halloween, but I don't really know anything.
Oh dear Lord.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Because that's fun. I'd also like to. Can we
Ever?
talk about? I mean, we're already live right now, but can we talk about the potential for a T-shirt happening?
Oh.
Sure.
Okay.
You talk about the horror hounds.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that's
we can talk about that because that's in 2 weeks.
Next weekend. It's like a week and a half.
Yes. Yeah. a
Joe,
week
I
and a
think
half.
I'm bringing back for the start here the picture of you at Disney World when you were a kid. I like that one.
Wait, I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's
Oh,
the
yeah,
one
yeah.
where
Oh,
he
God.
it's the one where he
It's
looks
glorious.
like Kim Jong Un. He's got the haircut and the glasses and a smile on his face. I don't mean, and I hope nobody thinks I,
I don't
mean that
mean
in
that in a
like a
bad way.
racist way. But look at him. It's the glasses and he's got the same smile on his face.
Oh my God.
This happens.
Oh my god.
Like he's surveying some photoshopped missiles or something.
Oh, I
Oh,
wish that
God.
I want
Those-
to make this my profile pic
He's
on
like,
everything that
these
I have.
dragons are satisfactory.
And he's wearing a Beach Boy shirt. Joe, this is incredible. This is like the greatest thing I've ever seen.
I
I
just
was
got
meeting my hero. What can I say?
I just got to get my water quick and then we can start.
Joe, do you remember the Alberts?
Yeah, Scott and somebody else.
Yeah, just I wasn't gonna use full names, but
Oh, there's probably 3 million Alberts.
I
in
don't
the
know
world.
if you've ever seen this picture, and I have to dig it up, but we have a picture from when we were little of one of the Alberts and one of my cousins. And this is going to sound terrible because I'm just describing a picture and it's going to make me sound like a horrible person. But one of them used to have a lazy eye when he was younger. He no longer does.
jeez.
And he's staring off with the lazy eye, and my cousin has has his shirt over his head, Cornholio style, and is crying hysterically. Someone put his shirt over the top of his head, and he's very upset, and it's really funny. And so I will try to send that to you guys at some point.
Oh.
Make you, you know. Oh my god, it's so it's like the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen. But you're just gonna have to take my word for it.
Wow,
I think so.
the setup so far has been. Take me to church like a bull, double D's and a butter double. How about see double hole, double him on the hole?
Work. Y'all watch the you guys watch the VMAs?
No, I watched the video of that performance, but I did not watch the VMAs.
I did. We did.
God,
Every year the wife.
that Beyonce, huh?
Ugh, music.
I'm more of a
seems-
Rihanna fan.
Ooh, girl.
Everything just seemed to be really boring, right? Like the music's just kind of like I don't know. It doesn't seem like they do anything. Like,
No,
should've-
most of it is really bad.
All
it
right,
was kind of just like blah blah.
Most of it is really, really bad.
I am recording. Everyone, please mute.
to Bloody Good Horror, covering the best and worst of the horror genre since Halloween 2007. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Bloody Good Horror. My name's Eric, and I'll be your host for this evening, where we will be discussing Don't Breathe, a movie about that mean guy from Avatar being super scary and butch.
Continuing to be mean.
I'm the editor-in-chief over at bloodygoodhorror.com. Joining me tonight, first up, he's the beer aficionado of BGH. He also lives in Chicago. And he's got some kind of funny hat on right now that I can't fully read, but he can tell you all about it. His name is Joe.
Damn right I can. It's a hat, and it says stuff on it.
What does it say on it?
Oh, it's Renegade Brewing.
Looks like a Raiders hat from here.
Currently owned by one Burnt Hills Spartan, Brian O'Connell, in Denver, Colorado.
Very nice, very nice.
Check it out.
Next up on the show, the web developer of bloodygoodhorror.com, flexing his web beaver muscles today. His name is Mark.
Oh, hello.
He's got a beard. That's how you know he develops the web.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you first get that job, they just give you a stick on one and they tell you never to take it off.
Rub this on your face. It'll help it come in fuller.
It's like the chia seeds.
Last up tonight, joining us, she is the high priestess of books and shit at Bloody Good Horror. She also knows a bunch about symbols for some reason. I don't remember why. Her name is Cece.
Hello.
What's
going on?
That's not true. I remember you went to college for symbolology.
I did.
Yeah.
I remember
And
you
painting.
went to college.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I didn't go to a really great college, but the state school sufficed.
In case you didn't look one up ahead of time, I'm going to warn you now that I'm going to call on you for a word of the day. So,
Oh!
Okay, perfect.
no warning.
You
to
know,
make it
the
happen.
pre-show would have been a good time to spring that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
but-
would have been helpful.
but I didn't
while
think
was
about it.
John
doing-
doesn't start working on his until the show starts. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't think that I was like a. Okay.
And I didn't think about it till just now.
Cece's about to throw up.
Listen, this is how I like to test people here.
But
You know?
Word.
Yeah.
If you want to feel better, you can go back and listen to any movie I've synopsized and listen to me just marble mouth over synopsis. If you asked me in like real life to synopsize a movie, I'd be totally fine. But anytime I've been asked to do it on the show, I just shit the bed.
Hey, Mark, why don't you tell me what you were doing at bloodygoodhorror.com today? Besides
Oh
being a
my
degenerate.
God. BloodyGoodHorror.com is a website. We have new reviews every day. We have all sorts of really awesome shit. I have mentioned, if you are a longtime listener to this, you know that once or twice a year, I say that there's stuff I wanted to do to the website, and I very rarely do it. But I did stuff. So there's a bunch of updates to the website, notably the front page of the website, bloodygoodhorror.com, is a lot cleaner. So there's and I also added a mechanism to get to sort of the really cool features that we're doing. So we did like horror through the decades, where Andrew did lists about a bunch of the best horror TV shows from every decade since the 50s. So we did 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, etc. Really awesome.
40s.
No, he did not go all the way back to the 40s.
Well, what the hell?
But
Go to another site for that.
we also we have a feature called the United States of Horror, which are lists based on different areas of the country. So we have one for Louisiana. We've got one for New York. We're trying to get Joe to do one for Chicago. We talked about it a long time ago, and
Yeah, I'll do that.
I'm gonna tell everybody to bug him about it because it sounds really fun.
Cool.
To be fair, your trying is currently just this. You saying it now. So.
Just you mentioning it offhand now.
Yeah.
That's not true. I said it on Slack earlier today.
Yeah.
Where were
Oh,
you?
did you? I
Yeah.
didn't see that.
Candyman, there's your number one.
No one uses Slack. And also, which is relevant to what's going on this weekend, we also have Thirsty Thursdays, which is Sophie's drinking games that she does.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll see those featured on the front page, and also the quickest way to get to the podcast is right there on the front page of Bloody Good Horror. So definitely check that out. Be on the lookout for that. Like, especially as we get into spooky season, we're going to be featuring a lot of new stuff, which is really cool, and I'm really excited about it.
You know what I love, Mark?
What's that?
Spooky season.
Spooky
Mm.
season. It's getting there.
I bet
Halloween.
I bet Cece gets down with spooky season.
I do. I get very excited.
I mean, she's spooky all year round. She's just waiting for the rest of the world to catch up with her.
I was like, no one else gets
Voodoo
to
High
like it.
Priestess.
Yeah. Like,
I
you,
will say
you're.
Andy brought up bringing a Ouija board to Horror Hound, so
Oh, yeah.
God forbid anyone who decides to hang out in our room.
Nice. Why don't you tell me about Horror Hound? Are some of you guys going out?
I think me, Sophie, Joe, Andy, and Casey. I think
Casey
that's
will
all.
be there. I'm
Nice.
bringing a normie with me.
Who's in
from,
which?
Yep, as am I.
Who are you-
Milwaukee.
Who are you bringing with you?
Buddy of mine from up in Wisconsin,
Just wants to see what it's all about.
back in the dirty jers. Yeah.
He's real nice.
Oh, he's
He's
a
a
good
real,
guy.
real nice fella.
Very
Nice.
straight laced, so I'm very excited to see like how this whole thing goes down.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many juggalos here. So
You
one
could
of the
probably
things.
tell them how magnets work. So I feel like the two of them.
I guarantee you, any normal reaction is gonna be pretty the same. It's gonna be like, wow, everybody was like really nice and friendly.
Yeah. But smelled kind of.
Like no one tried to murder me. It was weird. Like I don't know.
Everyone's so
I don't know what it
friendly,
is
but a little
people
stinky.
expect, but yeah.
So the other thing too that's going on this weekend is they're doing a tweet with BGH. I'm not exactly sure what the movie is, but
Resident
It's
Evil.
Resident Evil.
Oh, it
yeah,
is
they're,
Resident
they're
Evil.
doing
Yeah,
a
they're doing
whole
the first one.
series, right?
and also if you go to bloodygoodhorror.com when this is live, you will see Sophie's drinking game for it. So if you're feeling like you need something to do on Sunday night, which it's a holiday weekend, so you really have no excuse not to do it, you should watch Resident Evil, do the drinking game that Sophie's written up, and then tweet with us. So all that is we're just live watching a movie together using the hashtag tweet with BGH and just having a grand old time and hanging out with some buddies on the
You guys
internet.
are doing that Sunday, like so Monday everyone's off, so
Right.
I feel like there should be a good turnout.
So that'll be Sunday, and keep an
It's a
eye
good
out
story, right?
keep an eye out on Twitter for the exact time, and also on bloodygoodhorror.com for the drinking game to go along with it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I was just taking a look at the schedule. As we mentioned last week, we're kind of in the spooky theater season, which is exciting. This coming weekend, Morgan is released this Friday. We want to do that, but we're not going to get a chance to do it this week, so it's getting pushed off. I think we're going to take a break next week. September 9th, The Disappointments Room,
Mm-hmm.
which
That's
I
where
pray...
disappointment lives.
Yeah, I pray will not be a disappointment to me. The more I look at that trailer, the more I think it's just kind of BS-y ghost stuff we've been seeing, but I guess I could be wrong. September 16th, Bridget Jones's Baby. No, just
What?
kidding.
I thought Joe was gonna have a heart attack.
Blair Witch. Blair Witch. You know what else comes out that week that I'm kind of into is Snowden.
Snowden.
Oh, yep.
That's the movie about Snowden starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Ugh, had enough of him.
Oh, I love that guy.
I don't even know why I said that. I have no problem with him. I don't,
just a
it's,
guttural
it's
reaction.
just a
you have
natural
there.
reaction. You
Yeah.
could have said anyone.
I respect it. September 23rd, nothing. So I think we were thinking about like getting Morgan in that weekend, but I'm afraid it's not going to be in theaters anymore. But you never know, I guess. And then looks like nothing the week after that also.
Work.
Although I would like to sort of make a case for us seeing Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children because it looked kind of spooky.
Oh, that's nice.
Have you guys seen
What's
the
that-
Have you guys
that's
seen the
PG?
trailer for that? It's batshit crazy. Tim
I feel like I
Burton.
might be able to take the young into that, so I would be down for that.
It looks like really dark fantasy. Tim Burton's directing it, so I don't know. You know,
I like the part where the girl with the teeth in the back of her head eats chicken.
yeah,
I like chicken.
yeah, me too.
Chicken's
There's something for everybody.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what we got going on tonight. We're reviewing Don't Breathe. Joe, what would you recommend that we drink while we do such a thing?
Oh, I never sent you a picture, but we'll just talk about it.
It's all right.
So Don't Breathe is a story of three youngsters breaking into a blind man's house in order to steal what they understand is a whole lot of money. They spend a good amount of the movie trying to find where he has such treasure hidden. And in honor of that, I picked a beer from the good folks at Green Flash Brewing Company out in San Diego, California. Or maybe just outside, but this is their treasure chest. Wah, wah.
I get it.
Yeah, thanks.
I get it.
Treasure Chest is actually a beer that they put out every year. And I want to say they just started maybe last year or the year before. And it actually comes out around September. So pretty soon you'll find 22-ounce bombers at a lot of your local stores. And the nice thing about it is actually a beer that they put out, and then they put on a big fest at the brewery. And all of that the money that they raise goes to breast cancer research. So they actually make the beer pink by putting grapefruit, prickly pear juice, and hibiscus flowers in it. It's an IPA, but it gives it like a really interesting flavor. Like the grapefruit obviously kind of takes over and pairs really well with hops because they already have like sort of that citrusy, but the pear and the hibiscus kind of add like a nice flavor to it also. I've had this a couple times and it's really, really good, as everything Green Flash puts out usually is. Their kind of staple is their IPAs and their hoppy beers. They put out some really good like red ales that also have like a good amount of hop in it. But this one you can only find once a year, and it goes for like a really good cause. So I wholeheartedly suggest you check it out. Comes in at about 5.7% alcohol, just a little under 6. So not super high, but very, very tasty. And I want to say like almost like session like. Meaning like the hops aren't so like overpowering that you feel like, you can only drink one of these and then you're kind of sick of everything else. Very, very drinkable. So I definitely suggest if you can find it, check it out. Greenflashbrew.com is their website. And yeah, enjoy.
Thank you for that, Joe.
Yeah.
Joe, I was thinking of you yesterday morning.
I appreciate that.
Oh,
there's more.
I somehow got the hankering to listen to like 90s alternative music, so I looked up a Spotify playlist. You may have noticed this. I don't know if you were paying attention to my Spotify output. And what I ended up on was actually more of like a general 90s list. There was a lot of stuff that I would not call alternative.
Right.
But I had this like
Ace of Base.
I had this epiphany, and I guess this is like kind of obvious about grunge, but like all that alternative stuff, it basically was a contest to see the most creative way that you could put yourself down. Like literally every song, it's like I'm listening to like Creep by Radiohead and like Loser and like Smells Like Teen Spirit, and it's every one, like single one. It's not just that it's like depressing music. It's this very specific thing of like, I want to write a song that's really really creatively talking about how shitty I am.
It's it. I think we all kind of grew up around that period.
And then I was like, of course I had no self-esteem in the 90s. I was listening to this shit.
But you know what's weird is like everything was going just swell. Like
yeah, like what did we have to complain about?
There was nothing to really be that upset. I mean, I guess
Well,
none of us were.
That's the point. Because there was nothing else to complain about, we just had to turn the lens on ourselves.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like I don't know, none of us were old enough to
Self-reflection
kind
at
of
its worst.
like really have to deal with what was going on in the world. Like I was in high school. Like you guys were a little bit younger, so it's not like we were dealing with like life's everyday problems. But yeah,
like,
it's interesting. There was a.
I'm
this
really
girl,
bored. I think I might be terrible.
Wah, this girl doesn't like me. Wah,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, that was me. I think it was in Rolling Stone or so. I found it online, but there was a really good article about how like grunge died, and mostly because of like it just got oversaturated with all these bands. Like
yeah, it was at Spin. I don't know. Remember, we all
Maybe.
read it. We were like sending it around each other. It was really good.
Oh yeah, maybe it was really interesting because I didn't at the time like I didn't really think about it like like Bush and what was it like Seven Married Three and all those bands like they were just kind of everywhere, and you didn't think about it, but like it overpowered the market and just kind of killed everything.
I loved that first Bush album.
Yeah,
really
everyone did.
Real good.
And
Anyway,
then new metal came along.
yeah.
This suitcase needs more razor blades.
Anyway, apropos of nothing, I just really enjoy talking to Joe about like super mainstream music because he has a
I
lot
get
of
so
really
excited.
interesting
I could talk about
thoughts.
this all day.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Mm.
All right, guys, but it is time now to talk about Don't Breathe. So let's take a quick break and do just that.
And number 3, never, ever, ever, under any circumstances say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
I'm getting another beer. You want one?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back.
You see, you push the laws and you end up dead. Okay, I'll see you in the kitchen with a knife.
This is Zoe Bell, and you're listening to the Bloody Good Horror Podcast.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big breaking TV. From the prime time, bitch. Main feature.
And we're back.
Where did you make that, or where did we find the Cannibal Holocaust?
I found that on YouTube, Joe.
That's really entertaining. I kind of like that.
Thank you. I don't remember how I found it, but I remember being like, "This is cool."
Thank
Yeah.
you for finding it.
The Cannibal Holocaust soundtrack is like amazing.
I was about to say, like, for such a like extreme and like awful movie in some aspects, like the music is like surprisingly almost
Well,
relaxing.
the theme itself, yeah, is super oddly relaxing, which is a nice contrast. But then even the scary themes that happen, it's like such a good soundtrack. It's
Yeah.
I highly recommend it.
I listened to the It Follows soundtrack while I was working on the website last night, and I think it like I just felt like time was chasing me, and I think that's why it was so productive.
I like listening to it while I'm walking through Target. Like
What's that?
I like while I'm walking through Target looking for cheap goods. I like to listen to it and just be like,
When you're stalking your next purchase.
"I'm coming for your toothpaste."
Oh, if people only knew what you were listening to when you were wandering around.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you guys the theme music from the ride Soarin' in Epcot. You walk around the city, it is the best music to listen to. It's like you're floating along, having a good time.
Wait, where do you? Is that like on Spotify or is it?
Yeah, it's on Spotify.
Really?
Yeah,
They're just
that's it.
albums of like Disney theme park music.
Oh, not to get off on like a tangent, but like you can find like especially on like YouTube, there are just hours of like the background music that you hear while you walk around the parks and stuff.
That's
What?
kind of cool, actually.
That
Yeah.
is
Oh, it's
crazy.
awesome. We used to like, especially on long trips, there's actual apps that are just like online radio stations that'll just play like that music and like music from the rides. So like on long trips, I'll just download those and we'll listen to them. I love it.
Fascinating.
Mm.
You know what else is fascinating? Words.
Here comes Susie.
Can I call on you, Cece?
Oh yes, yes. I'm good to go now.
All
Sorry.
right. We
I was
totally
worried for a minute.
we
Just having a good
totally
Disney chuckle.
totally planned this. Let's do the word of the day.
The dancing really gets me amped. I appreciate that. The word of the day is hyperesthesia, which is a
Oh,
condition
shit.
that involves an abnormal increase in sensitivity to stimuli of the sense.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was so difficult to find the clinical term for increased senses, but there it is.
Say it again.
Damn.
Hyperesthesia.
I love it.
There you go. So now you know.
Schnars is fired.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like when sometimes you can smell good and other times you can't smell good.
Yeah, sure.
I think this is always smelling.
Always.
It's
really,
like sometimes
really
when
good.
you always smell good. When your smeller is not broke.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is like an A+.
And what does that have to do with this
That's
movie?
a deep cut, Eric. I feel you.
Thanks,
I
man.
know what you're talking about.
What does that have to do with this movie, Cece?
Oh, because our protagonist in the film is a blind gentleman who has developed his senses to be able to live in the world and not really, his blindness isn't really a disability because he has worked on increasing his senses in other ways.
He hyper steezes about the house.
Yes.
I think that's a correct.
Just
Hey, man.
stomping around.
Better get that-
All up in his
hyperesthesia.
steez.
Better get that steez checked. It's a little hyper.
Got some hyperstige.
Yeah. So, this movie is called Don't Breathe. It's directed by one Mr. Fede Alvarez. Is that how we're going to say it?
Yep.
Feed.
I mean, Feed doesn't sound right, so I'm going to go with Fede.
Oh,
Bidet.
He's from Uruguay. He
Uruguay?
is best known as the director of Evil Dead, the remake in 2013.
Mhm.
Before that, did a movie called Panic Attack. So before that were all shorts.
yeah.
And only one of which looks like was in the English language. So, this guy's creeping on the come up, as they might have said in the 90s, Joe.
Got a good head of hair on him.
Yeah, he does. He really does. Actually, you know what? Let's look at it. Yeah, he does. Like the salt and pepper thing and the beard.
All
I
right,
like- I
everybody,
like
all
it.
at once. Let's look.
But yeah, so that, coming off of that film, it's interesting to see kind of the type of project you might pick, and this is kind of the perfect movie for it. The film is about 3 teenagers living in Detroit. One of them, his father works for a security company, and because of that, he's able to get people's house keys and their security codes, and basically they break into the house, they steal a bunch of shit, and then on the way out, they smash a window so that nobody gets wise to how they're breaking into the house. They discover that this guy who an older gentleman. He was a veteran of the first Iraq War, I believe. Steve, played by Stephen Lang, and you might know him as the mean general guy from Avatar who kills everyone. Who's apparently in the sequels, although I thought he died, but neither here nor there.
An Avatar?
Yeah.
Maybe he plays an Avatar.
Oh, maybe it's an avatar of himself.
Oh.
Bong. So he basically is living in a house in one of these like abandoned neighborhoods where everyone else has moved out. He's the only one left. And they find out that his daughter was killed in a car accident and he has 500,000 from a settlement. And so they're
300.
like, or 300. So they're like fish in a barrel. The guys, and then they go to stake out the house and they find out he's blind because he's walking around outside. And they're like, well, screw it. Let's just do it tonight. Actually, I think they're like, let's do it right now because I think it's nighttime when they're out there. But they figure the guy's blind. There's no one else around. We'll just get in, which is actually like kind of a shitty plan because you still have to figure out where it is. And like, you don't think he has it locked up, which spoiler alert, he does have it locked up.
Well, and also a lot of times blind people have a different circadian rhythm than normal seeing people. So they don't they sleep during the day and they don't sleep at night.
That's a good word too.
Yeah.
I know. Sorry.
I'm guessing
I should,
that's
well,
a thing-
No,
that's a
I
thing
know
they
that
did.
I know that word because I'm actually very concerned with my circadian rhythm, and I'm very, like, as Mark found out, anal about light being in the room when I sleep because it's really bad for you and messes up your circadian
To be
rhythm,
fair, I
so-
was flashing a flashlight directly in your face.
Yeah. No, just a street lamp, same thing.
I know.
Basically.
That was yoke.
So they break into the house. They can't find the money at first, and before they do, the guy wakes up. He confronts them, and one of them pulls a gun out. The three characters, it's a girlfriend, boyfriend. Boyfriend is a total douche. Is his name Money or something?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what they call him.
You know, Money. And then the other friend is like sort of characterized in the film as being, you know, I hate this phrase, but like a friend zone kind of guy. Like he's the best friend and you can tell he likes her. But they're just kind of a crew and they hang out. But the money is an a-hole. He's not a very nice guy. And he brought a gun with him, which they're like, I can't believe you brought a gun. The friend character is really interesting because he's super smart, quote unquote, smart about it. He's like, you know, we don't steal cash because then that gets you a certain level of like charge if they catch you. We don't bring weapons with us, that kind of thing. So it all starts turning downhill fast. The guy wakes up, he confronts the kids, and right away you can
Confronts
tell.
is one way to put it.
Right away
Yeah.
you can tell through the use of sound and the guy, because Money is loud and he's yelling at the guy, but he's able to then kind of get a real good sense for where he is and is able to basically get up on him and like flip the gun around and shoot him. In a really great scene. Then at that point, it's basically on. He literally runs to the door and he starts hammering boards over the door. Like basically, I don't even know at this point. I don't think he even knows that there's other people in the house. Like it's a few minutes before he discovers that. But I think he's thinking, just kind of secure the border. But what that also means is now these people, the girl and the guy who are friends, are now locked in.
It did seem like he had a, in case of burglary, board windows plan that he was ready to
Yeah.
execute.
Well, I mean, he
if need
stepped
be.
on the glass when he was walking down the hallway, so like
Yes.
he knew that like there was some way they got in. But yeah,
Which-
he was just basically
That was
ready
a nice.
for it.
That was a nice little foreshadow, but didn't pan out the way I thought it was going to. I thought one of them was going to step on it and scream, and that's how he was going to figure out they were in the house because
Mhm.
they took their shoes off.
right.
So I thought that was like, but rope-a-dope. So they're stuck in the house, and they eventually do actually find out where his money is, and we kind of find out some more secrets about him along the way that we'll talk about later. But it's really just a really tense little thriller there about a very strong older gentleman. I think
Very strong.
I have a feeling like he's just one of these guys who looks older than he is. Like I think he's just
Wow, judgy.
Yikes.
Well, no, because I think in the movie it portrays him as like a pretty old guy, but I'm saying
I mean,
in
he's
real,
64.
is he really? All right,
Wow.
never mind. That guy's buff as a mofo.
He looks
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
That's one. That's a Jack 64-year-old.
that guy's a prick
For
shit
sure.
house. Forget about it. I was gonna say like 50s, and that he's just like went gray early or whatever.
He is frightening as hell to look at.
Yeah,
Even not being blind.
he's probably all right when he's like cleaned
pretty
up, but in
creepy.
the movie they give him creepy like blind guy
No,
eyes.
I'm looking at just pictures of him, like
Yeah, he's
literally
kinda
like
terrifying.
at the premiere of Avatar, and like he just looks like your friend's angry father.
I don't know what you're doing, but it's pissing me off.
Yeah, exactly.
What about this one where he's got a mustache and he's smiling? This one's pretty nice.
Yeah, he's smiling because he just
Pictures
punched a
on an
baby.
audio show.
Because he just murdered someone.
You
Well, I can
can't
actually
see
put it
the
into the
pictures.
video there, Mark. So yeah, I don't know, Joe. What do you think of this movie?
I didn't really know what to expect. From the trailers, I think we kind of got the impression that, you know, this guy was going to be effing with these kids for the entire time. But I thought there was some really nice little twists in here that we'll kind of get to. And I ended up really enjoying this a lot. Like, I think I'd heard some decent things about it and kind of thought it would be fun, but it turned out to be a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was really interesting, and I read a couple things that the director, I guess, and I didn't realize this back when the movie came out, but there was a big backlash around the Evil Dead remake that I guess it was too over the top with gore, and just a lot of people criticized him for just doing it for shock value.
I mean, that movie was actually really good, so I don't know who these killjoys are.
But I guess he specifically wanted to make a movie like this that was like the exact opposite, because there's not a ton of gore in here. It's, you know, there's a lot of tension, and I think tension is done really well. But
I find that so baffling, because like, what do you think? How do you think people would have reacted if you remade the Evil Dead and there was no gore in it?
Yeah,
Then you'd really get some shit.
But no, I mean, I thought it was great. I'm really kind of looking forward to what this guy does next. And yeah, overall, as a fan.
Mark.
Yeah, so I mentioned this on Twitter, but I saw this at the fancy AMC theater in town that had the recliner chairs with the speakers built in them, which I don't know if you guys have gone through that experience yet. It is something new and different.
So wait, is it D-Box?
I don't know. That sounds like a euphemism for something. I don't know what that means.
Oh, D-Box is the thing where the whole thing shakes around and like, but it's usually just like a one row, right? Or is it the whole theater?
I mean, this was the whole theater. They did, they do like the tech demo thing where you're like, this is how fucking loud it can go and how hard we can shake your butt.
Oh, they
and like
swear?
that. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, so that it's my first experience with that too, which actually was employed to somewhat disturbing levels with this movie, because there's a lot done with sound, obviously, and there's some, there's some jump scares and some good tension. I really enjoyed it. I think that my only real complaint would be that that they sort of play with the rules of the heightened senses a little bit to, sometimes they employ it and sometimes they don't. Like, there's like, he can smell shoes from across the room, but he can't tell when someone's like literally right in front of his face. Just stuff like, but honestly, I think it was really tense. I haven't totally figured out how to wrap my head around what sort of happens when they get into the basement and things get a little crazy, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But as far as like start to finish horror movies, I think this is like a pretty unconditional recommend for me. I think I really enjoyed it, and it was my first time back in the theater in a while, and it was just a really cool movie to see in theaters.
Yeah, it's pretty normie friendly too.
Most of it.
Most of it. I think there's one specific part we'll talk about, but it's like, it's just a good thriller, which I feel like is the kind of movie that has great normie crossover appeal. If you're like, have a friend who just likes suspenseful stuff, but they don't usually watch horror, because the genre kind of implications of it, I think, are interesting, which we can talk about. Cece.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree all around. I think that, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It is definitely high on my list of 2016 movies. It's pretty much exactly what I was hoping that movie that we reviewed, Hush, would be like. I was hoping that, they would kind of focus a little more on the heightened senses. So I really enjoyed that about
Hush.
this movie.
Hush.
Were you on that one, or was that the one where Casey?
No, I watched it.
Oh, okay. I
forgot about
but
it.
It was
anyway.
good. It was good.
But yeah, I really liked it. I mean, I think that, we're also all in agreement that there's a scene in the basement that's a little too intense, or the length is a little too intense, and
It just, we'll get to it. It feels
Yeah,
a
we'll
little,
get to
it
it,
feels
but
a little
I
out of
thought
place is the
everyone
problem with it.
their performances were great. I loved Stephen Lang. He's super creepy, even not trying to be creepy. So I liked it. And I even saw it with a packed theater on Friday night. So I got a lot of extra commentary, and I was still thoroughly unsettled while watching it.
Yeah, I saw this on a Sunday. Not a lot and people in my theater, but very active. Like I feel like it's one of those movies that it gets you kind of actively jumping and you know, gasping and stuff along with it. I really love this film too. I think Mark put it best when he said, you know, universal recommend. Like if you listen to the show, I can't imagine there's someone out there who's not going to enjoy this, at least on some level. It's really, really well directed, and it's got a great cast that like really carries it. I don't know this younger kid's name. I feel like I'm seeing him in a lot of stuff over the last couple of years.
Dylan Minnette. He was in the Gersperms movie.
Yes,
yeah.
he's got a
What?
very like earnest look about him that makes him great for these roles. Like
He does have eternal boy face. for
yeah,
sure.
he's very like
Yeah.
puppy dog eyes kind of look, but yeah, he looks super young, like probably younger than he is.
And apparently he was in the Let Me In remake.
Oh, weird.
He was born in 1996, so he's not old.
He's 19.
Wow, that's weird.
And it's strange because Jane Levy is, or Levy, however you say her last name, she's 26. So
yeah,
that's
she
interesting.
also looks pretty super young. You know, it's really tense. Like pretty much from about 10 minutes in, you are just, as Joe would put it, like butt clenching for the rest of the movie. And
I
they
was
find
physically unable to clench my butt due to the vibrations from the speakers.
they find really great ways to subvert your expectations the entire way through, right? Because like you're stuck in one setting and your mind is going like, what's next, and at almost every turn I was not able to call what was going to happen, and that makes it an exciting film to watch. I think like Stephen Lang probably the girl is really good. I already forgot
she was
her name.
great.
Really good, but like Stephen Lang just like steals the show because he probably says until his like little info dump at the end, he probably says 10 words the whole movie.
Yeah, it's very much like a Tom Hardy, like Mad Max performance.
It's so
It's very
emotive,
nuanced.
and like I really think that, and it's a testament to the script too. Like he's a tragic character that you have moments where you feel bad for him, and like something we can talk about is a question someone posed to us. Like, do you sympathize with these kids because like they're robbing him? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's the first thing my wife asked me when I got home, because she really struggles with movies like this where you don't care about the kids. And it's interesting because one, they're robbing this guy, so off the bat you're like, well, no, they're bad.
Right.
But then you kind of find some things out
Well-
about this guy where he's got some shady business going on. So it's like, so now do you feel for them?
Well,
Or
and
it's
also,
it's a
like-
really weird
I don't know
balance,
what
or
it says about me, but I never have that problem. Like, if you are making a movie, whoever, almost without exception, whoever your main character is, if you're putting me in their point of view, I am like identifying with them, even if they're like robbing, murder people. Like I almost, and I don't know if that says something about my morality or just that I watch a
you're
lot
a
of
terrible person.
No, like I watch a lot of movies and I'm willing to go along with it for the sake of seeing what they're trying to tell me. And what they're really trying to do is painting a picture of like desperate youth. Like they're bad people for robbing this guy, but like you also understand their circumstances and their desperation and why they might turn to
Right,
a life
exactly.
like
Well,
this.
we didn't talk about it, but the main character, we kind of get the home story. So she's robbing these places so she can save up enough money to move to California because she has a kid at home.
She's basically living the
It's her,
story.
it's her little sister.
She's
like,
living the
kid.
story of 8 Mile.
I was
Like,
about to say, yeah, she's pretty much living an 8 Mile, but
like
worse.
she basically lives in the same trailer that Eminem does in that movie.
She was his neighbor, probably.
Basically. Yeah, but no, so there's nuance there. And then like, you know, the Stephen Lang character is like not a great dude either. And when you find out really what's going on with him, he's like a super not great dude. But at the same time, when you see him like laying in his bed, prone, sleeping when they first break in, you're like, man, you feel this like real, this kind of I don't know what
Empathy
the word
towards
is.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like empathy. You feel that vulnerability that he has.
Even like when, shit kind of hits the fan, and, we'll talk about the scene, but like when we find out that he's a bad guy, he's still doing it for the reason that his daughter got killed and he misses
Right.
her. So
I
even
mean,
though
it
it's
kind
awful and you're like, this guy's a monster, like there's still a little bit of that like tugging at your heartstrings.
Well,
Well, I
and
mean,
they
it mirrors
also,
the kids' motivations. I mean, like they have this bad background that they're trying to work through, and so does he. I mean, his is a little more intense than theirs, but on the front of, either side, they both think what they're doing is the right thing to be doing for
Yeah.
them, at least.
Right. And he, to me, like one of the things I thought was like really interesting about this movie is that he maintains, I don't want to use the word innocence because he's like, he like killed a dude, but he up until the point where you get this sort of the other reveals, which we'll talk about, you could still make a case like he's defending himself, he's defending his house. I mean, he's being like pretty crazy violent in the process, but like there were armed people robbing him of all of his money. So
Yeah.
like for I would say like probably the first 3/4 of the film, it's like really intense and violent in parts, but you could argue that like he was doing what he had to do to keep himself safe.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think Jane Levy ever goes over to Eminem's trailer for some of Mom's Scatty?
Mom's spaghetti. It's on his sweater already.
I mean, I heard that's the best place to get.
The final kind of missing piece from this is the use of dilapidated Detroit as a character basically in the movie. Like when we watched It Follows, there's a little bit of this because there's a scene at the end where they drive into that like abandoned part of the city and they talk about how like their parents always told them to stay away from there, and this guy straight up lives in like a cul-de-sac where no one else lives. Like
nobody
everything's
within miles, yeah.
overgrown, and I think I can understand, like, if I lived in Detroit, I'd probably be pretty bummed out about a depiction like this because I'm sure there's plenty of positive things happening in Detroit. But at the same time, like, we've all seen enough images of this stuff, of these abandoned neighborhoods to where, like, we make that association, right? But it's really...
so cold in the D.
It's such a great setting because there's even a moment where one of them escapes and you're like, it doesn't even matter because they escape and all of a sudden you realize they're not safe because no one else is around and the guy's a dog. So that's such a great subversion of horror tropes, and it does it by using a setting which, like, we were just talking about all these things that give the characters nuance, and a lot of that has to do with the setting. Like, these kids are desperate because they are living in this situation, in this city that it just feels oppressive to them. And everyone, where everyone's trying to escape and everything. So that is like such a key part to this. And I remember saying when we watched that movie, I want to see a whole horror movie set in a place like that. And then someone did it. So
Yeah, I'm really impressed.
You're welcome,
sorry.
world.
Or no, I was just gonna say I'm really impressed how much they use the setting of Detroit as, I mean, everyone can say to a certain extent that like the setting is also a character in a movie, but he did a really good job of like really using the setting as a part of this, a part of the plot. Like, I mean, we routinely see that playing a factor into both sides of what's happening, not only on Stephen Lang's character's side, but also the kids.
Do you remember years ago there was a guy that was trying to buy like a large chunk of land in the middle of Detroit and turn it into a zombie amusement park where you would pretty much pay to stay overnight and like they would sort of reenact the zombie apocalypse?
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, but I've read a lot of stories about, like urban reclamation and how they're trying to take whole neighborhoods and just bulldoze them so they can just start.
There's the company I used to work for used to do this pro bono stuff for the Chicago Blight. Like what the full name was, but pretty much they raise money to literally just go block by block and demolish everything and just flatten it and make like a field, and then at least then you can like do something. But like they had stats on there, like the amount of like abandoned boats and like just houses, like all this stuff, like all the cleanup that needs to be done there. Like,
I went on a business trip once to Lansing, East Lansing, Michigan, and stayed in a hotel there that was like, it was a hotel where they used to host people who were coming in for like GM things, and so it was this massive like Holiday Inn, and none of the carpeting had been changed since like 1985. Like it literally looked like the Shining Hotel, like a hotel like stuck in time, and huge hotel. There was like nobody there. Like my boss and I were like the only people there.
It's crazy.
Super weird.
It's fascinating, but it's awful. Like it's awful what happened in this city.
So anyway, there's a lot of great little mini memorable moments in this film. Almost so many that I feel like I've kind of lost a lot of them. Anything?
Can we talk about the dog? For
Yeah,
a
I was
little
gonna
bit?
say I like a lot of the throw ups to other movies, like the dog movie with like Cujo.
Yeah.
I spent so much of this movie afraid that they were going to shoot the dog. Even as the dog was like coming after them, I was like, don't shoot the dog, don't shoot the dog, don't hit the dog with anything. And I actually found that for a movie that is not the most subtle in certain parts, they actually dealt with the dog really well. They were
Well,
somewhat
because he's
somewhat
just
gentle to the killer
you
dog
know,
in ways that they weren't gentle to other
the
characters.
the
in this
dog is just protecting its owner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
you're
doing what
like,
it's supposed to.
yeah, you do
Product of
have
his
that
environment.
amount of sympathy for it, for
I
sure.
don't think it's spoiling too much to say that at some point someone gets out of the house. We'll just say that there's some outside time, and I just wanted to like interject that into the conversation of the setting, because it does have that like amazing kind of Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing to it. Like
Yeah, for sure.
we've escaped the house, but we're still not safe because now we're in this like giant open area where there's no one else.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that this movie had like
That was a
had, like,
little Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
yeah,
for
like
sure.
it had like a third and a half act basically that I thought was really cool, and we can talk about it. But I
Right,
think that
right.
there's probably some logical leaps in this movie, but really like you really can't understate the tension. This has a lot of like classic horror tropes, like the person who you think is dead who is not actually dead. Actually, that happens like multiple times.
Yeah.
And I just think, and in kind of a cool way, right? You're like, there's no way that character's dead until they like, he has a really great way of showing that
Let's
a
just-
character is actually dead.
Let's
Like,
just say spoiler alert.
Yeah,
because
spoiler
no, I
alert. We're
want
gonna-
to talk about like that scene where the friend quote unquote dies the first time, is done so well. I mean, I thought he was dead, and it's really
Mhm.
brutal because you're like, shit,
Yeah.
man, they're going there. And then he comes back and he kills him again for real this time, and that was
For real.
brutal.
Also, that's like the thing you're talking about with the first the false death, like as far as working blindness into a film, that's like not a thing you could get away with in any other like it was like a very specific thing that would only
Because-
work in this movie.
Because he was blind, basically, he didn't realize that he hadn't killed him. He thought something else had
Yeah.
happened.
That was really smart. Like, it was interesting. Like, it never dawned on me until like there was the actual reveal.
That
was
whole
cool.
sequence
Yeah.
where
me
like
too.
that whole sequence where he's on the glass and she's crawling through the ducts was
Oh,
like
man.
was genius. It was so
Yeah.
When she
so
fell through the
amazing.
ducts, I was like, oh, that
Yeah.
it was a little like hurl worthy there.
That tension was so great where he's on the glass and it's slowly spider cracking and he's knocked out and he's like not waking up yet. Cause also like he's outside, right? That's what they've been trying to accomplish, and he's
Yeah.
outside, but it's very perilous and like hanging by a thread and it doesn't last very long.
Man, what a fun movie, huh?
It's just really
should
good.
should we talk about the scene?
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's-
shall we go into the basement?
Who wants to do it?
Which, well, speaking, I'll talk about it, but before when they first go into the basement and he turns off the lights, I was really impressed with how that scene went. Like it wasn't overly cheesy. Like it was very, I thought it was handled really well when Jane Levy's character and the other kid, when they're trying to find their way out and he's chasing them in the dark. But while that's happening, and it happens in the trailers, you see that he is holding someone captive in the basement, and we
As you do.
soon, yeah, if you get a big enough basement, I guess. And then we come to find out that she is actually the girl who hit and killed his daughter in the car wreck, and we get another twist later on. Are we talking like, are we going full spoiler alert?
Yeah,
Because I guess we're
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Then after they decide that they're going to try and save her, the blind man shoots her while they're trying to escape out of the basement.
Accidentally.
And- yes, accidentally.
He's
He
trying to
was
shoot
aim-
the intruders.
Yes, he was trying to shoot the other kids. She's a bystander. And when Jane's character gets tied up, he kind of goes into this info dump, and we learn that he has impregnated her. Well, not impregnated Jane, I'm sorry, impregnated the girl he was holding captive.
Yeah, basically,
basement.
he was like, "You took my daughter from me,
Yes.
and so you're gonna give me a daughter." And so he impregnates her, and then he
but
told
tells her
her,
he'll let her go once she gives him a
The
kid.
baby.
yeah,
So she
I
had to
wonder
get
if it
pregnant.
had to be a girl. Like, what if she had a boy?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, that would have been up to him anyway. I mean, that's sorry, dudes, but y'all
Open the
decide
mi-
whether or not it's a boy or a girl.
open the microwave.
Yes, so I'm sorry. So he opens the microwave and is explaining to her this whole time that he is not a rapist.
Do you think you have to do?
Take another dish from the freezer.
Do you think you have to do that on
He-
low? Go ahead and talk about it first. Then we can
I'm
discuss.
sure you would have to do it on
You
low.
don't wanna
I don't
damage
think
anything.
that
Cover it.
seared semen is really going to impregnate anybody.
Mm.
You have to cover it. I kind of picture like so we should talk. So just say
Does
it,
it
'cause
need to
then-
be
So
on one of
anyway,
those
he
things that
takes a
slowly
turkey
rotate?
baster because he says he's not a rapist. Takes a turkey baster and is basically like, "I'm about to impregnate you," which is still rape. But
No, but he takes like frozen man
ta-
stuff out of the freezer and he heats it up in the microwave, which doesn't seem
no,
scientific.
he heats it up on a hot like
Oh,
it's like
you're
a
right,
hot.
you're right.
Does it like in a double boiler, you know?
Yeah.
And this
You
like
know, like he's camping.
and this like
Like
old
you're making a chocolate sauce.
this like old dirty turkey baster, and I just was like, I don't know a lot
Well,
about
and then
science,
this
but
close up of like hair in it, and it was
Yeah.
like
it was
oh
gross.
yeah, there was a pube in it.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of
Definitely the most
a lot of
realistic and disgusting portrayal of that particular
Yeah.
fluid I've ever seen. in a
All I
movie,
could think was
really.
like people pay tens of thousands of dollars to have this done scientifically. I'm pretty sure that why was it frozen? I don't understand that part.
Well, I mean, you have to
That's
freeze
what
it. I mean,
lasts.
yeah, that's the only way you can like preserve.
it's
whatever.
literally
It's like
always
Walt-
right
it's like
there.
Walt Disney.
It's literally always right there for the taking. You just
Well, yeah, but
Well, I
have
don't
to
think
go
in this
to
process you'd be
specific-
like, all right, now you stay here for a minute.
why not? You think that makes it any less insane?
well, I mean, no, but it's.
I'm just saying, man,
I
it
mean,
should be fresh.
So
I guess he was
Stage
just.
fright, you never know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he thought that if he was more clinical about it, that it was less
Yeah.
offensive,
Sure.
as opposed to being like, "Hey, give me 10 minutes and I'll be back, and then we'll finish this."
But it leads to
So-
this really horrific
Like,
scene.
I don't know how-
It's like
I don't know
high
how long
school
it takes
cafeteria
y'all.
clinical. It's not really.
It leads to
medical
this
grade.
really horrific scene that is admittedly like well directed, where he's got the baster and he's slowly walking towards her, and then he like rips her.
No, he takes a pair of scissors and
yes,
like
and he cuts her
cuts
pants open.
the crotch
and
of her pants. I mean, it's like,
He's got her like hog tied up in the air. It's really weird.
yeah, it's just a like I don't normally get too offended or like worked up about stuff like that or like see, using that type of trope in a horror movie, or in a movie in general, but it was just so like over the top, and it seemed like it was over the top for the sake of being over the top.
It feels out of place because you've got a movie that is about real characters with
Right.
nuance, and where like everybody has up positives and negatives, and like all the action has been fairly realistic up until now, and it's like so it sticks out as a horror movie moment in a movie
Right.
that doesn't need it, or like you could have done the same plot line and even have the girl be kidnapped, and like
Well, like Joe said, just for him to use her like as a surrogate daughter, like
Yeah,
not
like,
even.
I feel like that
you know,
would have been.
yeah, but frankly, if
That
you
would've
had
been
even
fine.
if you had even just made him like a regular old rapist, like
I mean,
that's still awful, but like somehow
I don't
makes
ever want to hear those words.
but
put
it's
together
but
ever
it's
again.
somehow less
your
like
regular run of the mill rape.
but it's less sensationalistic than what they did. Like they
Well, right.
they did
yeah,
what they
I-
did because it's like horrific, and you're like, well, that's insane.
You can definitely make a case that the method was not right. I would say the only thing that it accomplishes, other than being super fucking gross and giving people something to like uncomfortably joke about, is that it's, you have these three people that are, these three people who are robbers, right? They're robbing
Mhm.
people. They're not necessarily great people. And you get a little more backstory on this girl, that she has like a younger sister that she's trying to get out of like a bad home situation. So you do sort of feel for her a little bit. But
Was it a
beyond
younger
that,
sister, or was it? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Was it a younger
No.
sister, or was it her daughter?
No, it was her younger sister.
It
I
was her
thought.
younger sister. That was
it was
Oh,
her
the,
it's-
younger sister. I
that
thought
was
it was
the-
her daughter when they first showed her, but I think they
That was the
like,
mom.
said- But anyways, the it does. There's a different way to do it, right? It doesn't have to be the hog-tied turkey baster situation, but they're giving like I was saying before, up until that point, you could sort of justify what he was doing as defending his house, even though he was
Sure.
like shooting people and going after them or whatever. This is like very active, very clearly wrong, and he's doing it to this person and had done it to this other girl. So it is a way to kind of turn him as a bad guy and turn her into some, a character that I guess is a little more sympathetic, but you can definitely do that without doing this. Like, I think
I mean,
it's
No, go
just
ahead, I'm sorry.
it's just that it feels out of place for me. That's it, right? Like if they had busted into that house and discovered like House of a Thousand Corpses level of shit going on, then it would have still been disgusting, but it would have made maybe more plot sense. Like,
I mean, I think, you know, we talked about Evil Dead, you know, one of the criticisms of, that people had of Evil Dead was that it was like over the top for the sake of it. I just feel like this director is
by the way, I would
it's like
like
a
to
secret.
I would
think
like
he's
to
just a secret
register
freak.
my opinion that those people don't exist and that's not a real thing.
Sure,
because-
that's like an opinion on the internet, but
Yeah.
Well-
but still, like it's I think I'm guessing like he's a very interesting director because he's clearly super talented,
Yeah.
right,
Mhm.
and can make really tense movies and whatever. And he's probably also just kind of a little weird and is like, let's throw some shit in there. Like there's some shit in that Evil Dead movie where you're like, oh god, like a person
Well,
thought of
yeah,
that and
Yeah.
they did it,
Yeah.
and it's like
I gotta
the
watch that
hacking,
again.
the hacking the bones where it was like a chicken bone, such like just like he's got some for like a mainstream horror director, definitely has some like pretty intense sensibilities. It's
Got some issues.
Yeah. I think that I mean, I have to say I thoroughly loved the movie and I enjoyed it, but that scene, it just seemed really lazy storytelling wise. Like
Yeah,
if you're going to do
yeah.
it for the sake of doing it and being over the top, then really lean into it. But like it becomes so like tropey and stereotypical because you have this girl who, okay, yeah, you've got this like flip of victimization happening where she's becoming the final girl and it's really the, you know, blind man who's the bad guy now. But the only way that she is like saved or gets out of this situation is because the one remaining friend who ends up not being dead comes back and saves her. So she's not even really vindicated by any means. Like when she gets up and we see her like shove the turkey baster back in his face and like
Oh,
screams
I
at him.
forgot about
Like
that.
that's
Oh.
not. It's still like it's
the
really cheap.
noises.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been.
It's just not like if you're gonna do it, then like go for it. But this was like, oh well, this kind of makes up for it. Whereas either, you know,
Yeah, I mean, it would have been way more emotionally devastating if it goes like you guys were saying, like he just forces her to be his daughter, right? Because then
Right.
it like it plays into the characters that you've been building, and is still really shocking and
I was
devastating.
just saying it's
and-
still really jacked up. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't. I mean,
I will say like the reveal of them turning the lights on in the basement was like pretty amazing. Just the
Yeah.
just
Oh,
the
yeah.
shock. Like if you, I mean, I didn't have like I don't know how the hell you could see that coming. I mean, maybe
Yeah, no.
maybe it's sort of like the way they explain it. You're like, oh, okay, I could see that, but like you don't know what's in the basement, and they turn the lights on, and you're like, whoa, shit! Like it's a very intense reveal. I was wondering, how did you guys feel about the weird like night vision? I was sitting there trying to think of another movie where I've seen that. Basically, it's like the green night vision that you see, but it's grayscale, so it's like a
I
little
really
just
preferred that.
I liked
Yeah.
how their eyes were super huge because that's
Yeah.
what you do in the dark. You're like trying to get all the
Right.
light in.
And it
you
was a
can.
very it was like I've never seen that in a movie before, but I thought it was pretty cool.
Was it? I am super colorblind, and I did not notice any difference between that normal night vision.
That's an interesting flip too, right? Because
Joe, are your other senses heightened because you're colorblind?
up until
Yeah.
that point in the movie, they have an advantage over him because they can see. But
Right.
then in a second's time, through a move that he does very calculatedly,
Ninja
Sudden-
vanish.
suddenly he gets the upper hand because now they're on a level playing field because they can't see. And
Also-
he knows like every inch of this house
For
by
a
touch.
dude that has like nothing in his house, he has so much shit in his basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a lot of knickknacks down there. I do
Um,
like that there was a line in the trailer that they left in when they kind of show that this is gonna happen, and it's him just saying like, "Now you're gonna see what I see." Like, I was actually kind of dreading that line coming, and I was actually very happy that they left it out of the movie.
Right.
itself.
Do we want to talk about the very ending? Eric?
Yeah,
you
sorry.
make-
I was just looking
Well,
at fan
can I
mail.
just say that I am not a fan of showing the third act as your opening scene in a movie. Like I just
See, but I didn't
I
mind it
prefer-
in this because it kind of
It creates some
it didn't
tension
show
because
the end, but it showed like
yeah, but it's
a
just like
weird
the
snippet of it.
I
Yeah,
will
it's
say
like
what
the
I
middle of
liked
the
about
third
it
act.
is it creates tension though because there's a moment towards the end where it looks like she's about to get out, but you're like,
I mean, I get
well,
it.
but something bad's gonna happen because I saw
Yeah.
the shit in the beginning.
yeah.
So are we gonna do this?
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah,
who's
go
gonna
ahead.
talk about it?
All right, so if you haven't been totally spoiled already, spoiler alert. So through a series of events, our final girl is in fact the final girl, and she's able to escape from the house. And she gets out of the house, and she's like, "Hey, what are you gonna do now? You're useless out here." And then the dog comes out, which like
And
I
you're
just
like,
love like
"Fuck."
anytime there's a lull and you're like, oh, they're safe. They're like, here comes the fucking dog. And it was so the dog chases her and she ends up in the car and comes up with a pretty brilliant MacGyver-y way to trap this dog in the car. I like one of the most tense scenes of the movie. It was pretty crazy. I don't know that I would have come up with that particular way to trap a dog in the car. I was saying over email, I'd probably just sit in the car and be like, well, that's it. I'm going to starve and die in here. It's either me or the dog.
I feel like the dog would eventually have left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but it
Also-
would have shown the blind guy where you were though.
Visually, there's kind of a leap of logic there at the very end of that scene before she gets out of the car, because the dog is able to, she's like at an angle leaned back, right? And the dog is able to get right up into her face, but can just barely miss her face, which means he totally could just like bite
Oh yeah, he
her
absolutely
in the
could have gotten like her
stomach.
No,
stomach
because
down.
he's got a
like-
choke chain on, and she
No,
she
no,
hooked
but
the
where
choke
he
chain.
is at with her face, she's like this. She's leaned back. If he can be all the way up in her face, he can definitely be down where her body is.
Yeah,
is
like he
my
definitely
point
could have
is.
gotten her legs or.
Like
Oh,
it
well,
wasn't
yeah, but
like
it
it wasn't
depends
like
on
her
who-
face. She was leaned in and her face was here. I'm doing the
Yeah.
diagram for people who can't see. Like it just was. It's kind of silly. Like
Well,
if
I
he's
mean,
that close
maybe
to her face, he
trained
could
him
literally
to
just
attack their faces. I mean, some dogs only attack certain places.
Come on,
Look,
Cece.
I'm just
you
giving
always
you.
take the dog side. Susan.
yeah. You sound like Schnars.
That's how Cece trains her dogs. Go for the face.
Go for the
Murphy would totally.
Nuts.
Murphy wants to rip someone's face off. Like the
Testicles.
times that Murphy has tried to jump on people, he does not. He does not go for the legs. It's the straight face.
You
Straight
maybe
for the
shouldn't.
face.
You maybe shouldn't say that on air.
Yeah, he sounds cute.
Yeah.
Don't walk up next to me while I'm out walking my dog by myself.
Walk near me.
Okay.
Duh.
Be like, hey, I'm gonna come into my basement so I can keep you as a captive forever. No thanks.
Yeah.
Don't rob my millions.
I really like the end too. I think there's a nice kind of full circle thing in the end where they're in the air. This is mega spoiler. Like, you know, she gets out. She's in the airport with her sister getting ready to fly away to California, and they see the thing in the news. And I guess as it turns out, the cops are just like, oh, this kindly old veteran was robbed. And that was it. The whole story.
I don't know if you guys saw this week, but
because-
there was a story that apparently the original ending had him showing up in the airport.
Which
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense because like that's and I thought about that, but the thing is like he has power but only in his house because he's
Right.
so familiar with it. And like I actually love the ending the way it is because there's a conversation earlier in the film where they're like, don't you get it? Like he can't call the cops on us because they're going to find out what he's doing.
So
and she makes a comment about how the money is basically a payoff for our silence.
Yeah, it's like hush money.
Yeah,
Well,
and
she
so
also,
and
so they use the alarm. Like, finally, she uses the alarm to set it off and kind of screw up his hearing. But at which point, it also alerts the cops. And
but
sort of that final scene is the cops coming to the house.
Yeah, and it's a nice full circle though, because then when she hears on the news that he said he was robbed by two people and he killed them both, then that's her tacit understanding of like, this is our deal. Like he didn't tell them about me, and I'm just gonna disappear now.
Well, and he didn't, obviously he didn't want to kill her. He wanted to keep her, so he wanted her alive. The only thing that I will say about the very ending that bugged me, and this is just like, trying to apply
Rational
real life logic to movies, which doesn't really work. So the kindly old man story, while I get it, and I agree that the fact that he only mentioned that there's two people is kind of I felt like a good character twist. I thought that was a good wrap up. Like on paper, that looks really
like
good.
it's so intentional, yeah.
But this was like 2.5 hours of just like violent shit all over the house. And also he has a full setup with chains and mattresses and shit in his
Yeah.
basement.
He's got a rape dungeon.
And
So,
the
like,
cops
I mean,
are
it's
there
super
like as
weird.
soon as she escapes. Like there was no time for like cleaning up or anything.
And he
Well,
was
no,
he was
the last
unconscious
time that
anyway.
you see him, he's fallen
Yeah.
down his basement stairs. And there's like blood pooling around him.
But that room though, that room was like way in the back of the basement through another door. So I mean, like I totally agree with what you're saying. Like it seems kind of insane that he's blind, right? So the cops are not going to take him at his word that nobody else is in the house. They're going to search the entire house.
I will say that I liked the ending enough that I'm nitpicking it, but that did seem like a particularly silly. And it's also
I'm
like
with you.
we know what happened in that basement, right? So like I don't
Yeah.
know. I would just think that if I was a cop
Oh,
and I
look
went
at-
into someone's basement
Hey.
and I saw that situation, I'd be like,
Hey,
Hey,
this
what's
is
over here?
This is a really nice rumpus room you got down here.
"Oh, that's cool.
Which
Do
I
you
mean,
have
technically though, like, did he have anything that was like?
There were chains and shit. Like,
Huh.
what, you
Is
know.
this where you
Well,
cook
but I mean, that could
Thanksgiving
be like a
dinner? What's
sex
this
swing.
for?
I feel I mean, who knows?
Ew.
That's true. He did have really
So-
nice. He did really
Oh.
have like nice plants all around there.
Yeah,
for-
there were like plants and like nice
Sure.
cushions.
Oh,
I mean,
is this
not saying it's good, but at least like he wasn't keeping her chained to like a saw room.
is this gravy? I love gravy. What kind of
Oh,
gravy is this?
A whole freezer full of it.
Yeah.
It's my lucky day.
Golly.
Crystal clear gravy.
Oh my god! And a hot plate right
Pepsi.
here.
Pepsi
mean,
clear gravy.
fire this
Clear
up.
gravy.
What was that? That was an old SNL
That
commercial.
was the
Crystal
SNL
Pepsi.
skit.
Crystal,
clear-
crystal
clear
gravy.
gravy.
Crystal
Just
gravy.
like your grandma used to make, but clear.
We found it. It
Oh
happened.
Christ! Well,
So
that's
bad.
not a whole lot. And trust me, we're not done talking about turkey basters because Ask BGH went buck
Well,
wild.
it's time to it's time to wrap up here. Would you recommend this, Joe,
Yeah, absolutely.
Mark,
for sure.
Cece?
Definitely.
Yeah, me four here. I think like somebody over email said that this could potentially be a number one this year. I'm looking back at what I've seen and like it's definitely in the running. I'm not sure that I've seen
Oh,
something
man.
else that hit me this hard
About
this
the
year.
witch.
I was about to say,
Ah,
I don't know,
that's
the
a
witch
good-
is up there.
That's a good
Wait,
point.
did The Witch come out this year? This was
Yeah.
Easy,
Came out around my birthday.
easy top five though. I'm definitely gonna say that. So,
This
all
was
right,
all
guys.
in English though, so.
All right, guys.
That's true.
That's gonna do it for Don't Breathe. Let's take a quick break and do some fan mail.
What's behind the legend?
Listen, he's under the bed!
And most terrifying of all, come with me. What's behind the mirror?
He's here.
Candyman, you don't have to believe. Just beware.
This is Jeremy Gardner. I'm the writer, director, star of The Battery, and you're listening to Bloody Good Horror.
Send your emails to info@bloodygoodhorror.com or hit us up on Twitter at BGHorror with the hashtag AskBGH. And don't forget to pick up back episodes of the show at podcast.bloodygoodhorror.com.
And we are back. We are back.
Talk about how much better the show's been since we can actually hear the bumpers. I feel like it gives me a nice little
yeah.
boost of energy towards the end of the show.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Got a little exercise in.
I
Get
agree.
some cardio.
I love how Joe now recognizes that Tales from the Crypt remix and gets really excited when he
I
hears
do.
the opening part. We got a couple emails this week. First up, Sandy. I know I'm a little behind on this. I was really shocked you all liked Lights Out as much as you did. I thought all the scary things in the movie were already in the trailer. It felt more like a PSA for depression and suicide than a scary movie. Even
jeez.
Teresa Palmer couldn't save this movie for me. I could plainly see where they did reshoots. The boyfriend really was a throwaway character, and why didn't someone just turn the spotlight from the cop car on? That is a good point, actually. We did say that, I think.
Yeah.
There were people laughing out loud and cracking jokes in the theater when I went. I hoped this movie would be good, but it was just a disappointment. I also think it would have been scarier if you could never hear Diana speak, maybe a little whispering, but nothing really audible. Just my thoughts. Also, for the book club, maybe look into House of Light by Andrea Perron.
Ooh.
She's the oldest daughter of the family that The Conjuring was based on.
Nice.
Hmm.
I think I've heard. When I was looking at the Conjuring stuff, I saw that she had written something, but I never looked into it. So I'll have to add it. Thanks.
Look at that. So, can you guys just tell me, should I bother seeing Lights Out before the end of the year? Is it going to make my top 10?
I think you should see it, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
it could. It could.
All right.
I mean, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's decent. It's fun.
I like the short.
Next up, Angie. Wanted to send you this email because the last movie rental place in my town is closing.
Aw.
It made me nostalgic thinking about how much I loved going there as a kid and picking out those old horror movies that have become the reason I became the horror and just plain movie lover I am today. What are some of your memories of the local video stores you grew up with? Did you have certain movies you would rent over and over? I think I must have rented The Monster Squad and Arachnophobia 100 times. Thanks for your thoughtful and often hilarious take on the horror genre. Your podcast is still my favorite. From Angie. Oh, when's the next Spooktacular?
Hmm.
We do one every week now. Just got to sign up on Patreon.
feel like-
I remember renting Gummo and my mom being like, "What is this about?" And I
Oh
was
my
like, "I don't know. I
God.
just want to rent it." And that was a terrible idea.
Woof.
I rented like Friday the 13th, Halloween, or Nightmare on Elm Street movies every week, like ad nauseum, over and
It's
over.
like some of my like favorite memories as a kid. Like I feel like we had a lot of really good VHS places where we grew up. There was like Mr. Video, there was Leaders, there was Charm Family Video, which is up the block from me. Like we had so many.
My God, Joe, you're really bringing me back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I've said this a lot, but there was one called Creative Video
Oh
that they would do 5 in certain sections with the older stuff. They would do 5 movies for 5 days for $5, and so I would just do these weekends where I just get like 5 horror movies and just
yeah.
go buck wild.
And I love those places because like they were
And
all
I
like
rated that place when they went out of business. It's like
privately
half
owned.
of my
Like
collection.
I remember like Mr. Video going there and asking the woman that like owned it, like, just give us like some crappy horror movie, and she would like recommend like 5 or 6 things. Like,
Yeah, it's
awesome.
I rated that place when they went out of business too. It's like half of my collection is from them.
And we talked about this on the show before, but it is because I was a little younger in the heyday of like mostly VHS. So a lot of my memories of films are like seeing films for the first time after years and years of seeing the cover. Like the first time I saw Dead Alive, like that the cover of that movie barely resembles anything that happens in the movie, and I'm like, what?
Makes
the
no
fuck?
sense.
You know, and like Monkey Shines, like again, there is a sort of monkey on the cover of
That's
Monkey Shines.
That's a
but
great cover though.
It's such a great cover. It's like an iconic. Silence of the Lambs is another like really iconic cover. Like I have these memories of being really young and kind of being disturbed by covers of movies years before I had ever seen them, which was you just like don't get that anymore, you know.
I definitely talked about it on the show, but about 4 years ago when I was living in Boston the first time, there was a like neighborhood video store still around the corner that just kind of still made their living off like college kids. And even though like I already had Netflix and it made no sense in my day-to-day life, I would go there all the time and rent movies just for like the experience because I really loved it. Like they had a whole giant VHS horror selection. And then they also went out of business and I bought half of their collection.
You know what's weird is our local library actually has like a huge DVD like horror section.
Yeah,
Like-
so does
wow.
so does ours. The
and it's
full-on
actually it's kind of
movies.
awesome. Like it kind of reminds me of going back and doing that. Like I will go like on a Sunday and I'll let the young in run around the kids area and I'll just like look through like the crap they have there. It's very nice.
Yeah, so if you're in the greater Chicago area, there's actually a store called Odd Obsession Movies, and the people that run it do like screenings at Parsons, which is this fried chicken and fish place by where Jordan and I used to live. It's really cool, definitely worth checking out. So there are still some, but it's like, you know, it's obviously very kind of boutique-y at this point, which is a little sad, but
I don't know. I mean, Atlanta's got video. We have a place called Videodrome, and they do new releases, but they also have a really good selection of like imports and, you know, alternative, like anything you're looking for, they normally have, or they can tell you if they're going to get it. So, I mean, I realize that it's still kind of specialized, but I like
Well,
that there's one or two still around.
At the end of the day, too, it's like, especially as I don't know, it just the concept is foreign of like I go to a store and I pick out one thing and then that's it and then I just have that thing. Like I think that even those of us who grew up with it at some point, it just is we don't get it. You know what I mean? It doesn't really make
I
sense
mean,
to
the
your
other
brain
thing too
anymore.
is like you very rarely stopped watching a movie you rented, even if it sucked. Like,
Which I kind of
oh
missed.
shit, I'm stuck with Hellraiser Bloodlines. Well, I
Right.
guess I can't get another movie for another couple days until I save up my nickels. I guess I'm just gonna have to watch it.
Yeah. So
We lost Eric.
No.
Again.
it's fine. Yeah,
It's fine.
it's a good question.
It's not fine. I'm feeling deeply hurt.
Next up, Wesley.
Yes, Mr. Belvedere.
I was thinking Princess Bride. Hello, L. Just like many of you, I have a daughter. She is 4, and I thought she might be old enough to watch Ghostbusters, the original, not the childhood-destroying
boy.
abomination that was recently released. Just kidding, I have no issues with the reboot. After one watch, she was totally hooked. Every day when I come home from work, she wants to watch it with me. Also, she wants to be a Ghostbuster for Halloween. She loves The Nightmare Before Christmas and Goodnight Goon, a spoof on Goodnight Moon. I'm super proud that she loves spooky things at such a young age. As always, I love the show. Keep up the great work. Congrats on the upcoming 400th episode, Wes.
Nice.
You know, I actually just like don't care if my daughter ends up getting into spooky things. I'm more concerned with her becoming a fully formed adult first, and like if she likes like whatever.
It is like very sweet.
Because like I think you can go too far though too. Like, you know, I don't know. I
Yeah.
just think it can go too far.
Yeah. Oh, I 100% agree. I would not want my
What?
daughter going full on spooky.
Like, I get it, we're all horror fans, we love it, but like, don't be showing your daughter like Texas Chainsaw Massacre when she's
No,
like
that
6
doesn't
years
need to
old.
happen.
I just want to point out, just to embarrass him on the show, Joe's daughter recently had her first day in kindergarten,
Oh.
and I noticed. So as a a weirdo who just got married and is looking forward to having children in the future, I love the picture of you walking her up to school because it's such a sweet picture, and then very clearly in frame you can see your Jason mask tattoo on the back of your leg.
Yes,
And
totally.
I don't even think you could write a better metaphor for just like your entire life in general. And it made me so deeply happy. I just wanted to share that on the show.
It's a very sweet day.
Yeah. Did any of the parents ask about your tattoo?
No. I think most of the parents were like sort of huddled by themselves, quietly sobbing. So nobody actually spoke to anyone.
Don't look at me.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone was wearing sunglasses. Nobody spoke to each other.
It's a real milestone, you know?
Oh, it was she did wonderfully. Leslie and I, we've had better days.
info@bloodygoodhorror.com is email address. We're also on Twitter at BGHorror with the hashtag AskBGH. And if you are a patron and you're going through back episodes and you hear funny stuff, hit us up, hashtag BGH Classics. It's your cue, Mark.
Oh, thank you. I was just making sure we don't have any BGH classics, but you should definitely get them in for next week. So if you're listening to back episodes and you hear something particularly funny or obscene or quote worthy, please tweet it to us with the hashtag BGH Classics and let us know what episode it was in, and we'll read it on the show. There you go. All right, first one with Ask BGH. Did any of you see Freaks of Nature? Funnier than Hell Baby and totally monsterlicious.
Freaks of Nature? I don't think so.
I've seen the title, but I know I've never seen it.
Maybe
No.
we should do a show on it when we
Have
have an
not.
off week.
Eh,
What do you think, Eric?
Sure.
let's look,
You don't even know what I asked you just now.
Nope.
let's
Wow,
look at the
okay.
trailer first before.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Come on.
Next one is from Alan Murch. If it was tastefully done and it was key to the plot, do you think Mila Jovovich would consider keeping her clothes on for a role?
It's funny, somebody was tweeting us today.
Get it?
and
Because
said-
it's backwards.
Oh, I get it. Somebody was tweeting us today and saying that if you listen to the commentary during that scene, her husband is like trying to talk about like the camera shots he was using, and she makes it a point to point out that he had her be nude in that scene.
Oh yeah,
I guess
yeah,
it's
did see
funny.
it. Oh, I did see this movie. I did see Freaks of Nature.
But that
was
made me
pretty
think
good.
like I don't really ever listen to director commentaries, but I kind of would love to listen to commentary with the two of them on every single Resident Evil movie. Like that would be kind of amazing.
There you go.
That's the same thing. Rob Zombie kind of did that at a like Q&A. They were talking about Lords of Salem, and they kept trying to bring up like why Sherry Moon Zombie is always naked in all of his movies, and he kept trying to like jump over the question. So I don't know.
It's for art, man.
Yeah.
Dracula. All right, the next one is from Mi Corazon, Mi Amor.
Mi corazón.
There you are. What are the crew's thoughts on Shyamalan's upcoming child abduction horror film, Split?
Well, the good news is Schnars isn't here to butcher his last name. I have not seen a trailer for this though.
Man,
Yeah,
if M. Night Shyamalan ever directs a movie with Mila Jovovich in it, this podcast is just going to explode from the terrible bumbling pronunciations of names.
Schnars is supposed to be the smartest one on the show, and he's the one that most consistently mispronounces people's names.
After this week's word of the day, I think we've
Nip that right in the bud.
yeah.
I did see the trailer for this, and I'm really excited. It's got James McAvoy in it, and it's kind of like Buffalo Bill-ish, but he apparently has a split personality, so he like kidnaps these three girls, and then he's got multiple
Oh my God,
personalities.
I also have seen it, and now
Yeah.
I totally know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
it's ringing a bell for me too.
I think it was on the Slack like a month or two ago, but it does look really good. I'm excited.
I will say, like, Shyamalan's, has sort of turned on his hackishness a little bit, and like,
Yeah, I think
he's
we're all
just
ready to
maybe
kind of
leaning
give.
into his really goofy sensibilities rather than trying to convince everybody he's super
Yeah.
serious and also being like accidentally really wacky.
I think we're all sort of like willing to give him a shot after
The Visit.
because that shit is cray.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
James McAvoy is kind of goofy, kind of weird, like in the trailer, so it comes across creepy and terrifying. So I think there's some
Poopy
possibilities.
diapers.
I like that thrift shop song he did.
I'm gonna
Oh
pop
my
some
God.
tags.
That is a terrible joke.
Hey-oh.
Next one is from Nerdy Jack 86.
This is fucking awesome.
Oh, there he is. Can we officially call 2016 Horror's Year? So many quality films from both independent and major studios.
You know, ask me that question again in December when Schnar sends out his list and I can really look at it, because I don't feel like I've seen a lot of amazing shit this year, to be honest with you. I might just be missing things, but...
I don't know. I feel like I've seen some pretty good ones this year, so I could maybe agree with that.
I will say it is like light years away from the worst year.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I actually think like you guys bring up a good point about The Witch. Like The Witch is whether you loved it or not, I think is a hugely important horror film, because it's essentially an art house film that got a wide release and like did really really well. So may have bewildered people once they saw it, but I think that's such a fascinating story from this year.
It's really opened up a lot of doors for goats in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's true.
Next one is from the Toughest. If BGH was on Survivor, who'd be voted off first? What would the alliances be, and who'd win? Or would Schnars be hunting everyone?
I would probably be voted out first. I'm really bad at, like, I have no poker face. Like, I can't pretend to not be annoyed by people. So,
I mean, if that plays a huge factor into it, I don't know how long I would last.
That actually reminds me. Chris, one of our writers, posted this thing about who would survive or like what your role is in a horror movie based on your Myers-Briggs personality type. And I kind of, depending on the mood I'm in, waffle between two of them. And
we should all take that test.
I would. What's that?
We should all take that test and see what we get.
Yeah. Well, in case you guys are really curious, I am an ENFP/ENFJ.
And then we should all take IQ tests and see who's the smartest. That's actually a really good idea. I'm actually way into
Yeah,
that.
we should definitely just post it on the website and embarrass the shit out of everybody.
We can talk
That'd
about
be
it on
great.
the pre-show.
We get to find out who the dumbest among us is.
Yeah. Just the OG crew, though. Like
We should all just go back and take the SATs. You know,
I don't need to find out that I don't need to find out that new classes are smarter than me. I don't need that in my life.
Oh, yeah. Well, we already know that.
I know nothing.
Okay, so next one, also the toughest. Will you guys be reviewing The Exorcist or hashtag Medea Halloween, hashtag Halloween? I will say that's not his joke. They actually just recently released another Boo a Medea Halloween poster that was a rip on The Exorcist.
Yep, I saw that.
I gotta say, they're going pretty hard on it. And I had this moment when I was going to see Don't Breathe where I saw what I thought was the Halloween poster from like probably 50 feet away, and I got all excited. I'm like, oh my god, are they going to be showing it in this theater and come Halloween time? And then I walked up and it was the Halloween poster.
Halloween. It is weird seeing that poster, because that's like what a weird deep cut that is. Like, do people who aren't horror fans recognize that poster?
I mean, you know what, like,
it's awesome, but
we recognize that we are not the target audience for a Tyler Perry movie, but
maybe we should review it.
we're definitely gonna. We have to see it.
Okay,
right?
Halloween. Let's do it.
We gotta do well. It's called Boo, a very Medea.
Has anyone in this room seen an entire Tyler Perry movie ever?
Yes.
Which one?
I mean, does Gone Girl count?
Medea Goes to Jail and Medea's. My mom has several of them on DVD. So
are you?
That's awesome. What did you think?
What do you mean?
That means she liked him.
We're on
Tyler
a show.
Perry's like an Atlanta dude, so I mean, if you're in Atlanta, you've probably seen something with Tyler Perry in them. I mean, if you're into those movies, they're good. I mean, they keep making them, so they're entertaining. I don't know that I'll see Boo in theaters unless I'm on the show.
Oh, you're gonna be on the show. We gotta get you on the show.
Yeah, I'm definitely out that week, so.
Because you are the closest we have to a Tyler Perry expert by your own admission just now. So.
I mean, Tyler Perry in Atlanta is. I mean, most people I think have seen or can tell you about most of his movies.
Yeah, for sure. So. Also, to go back to the VHS thing, one thing the VHS era gave me was a broad knowledge of all the Ernest movies, including Ernest Scared Stupid and Ernest Saves Christmas and all of those.
I really think I only ever watched Ernest Scared Stupid.
The Ernest Christmas movie is real weird, and
Ernest
definitely
goes to camping in the theater.
There you go.
This is kind of not related, but do you guys remember that TV Garfield Halloween special?
Yeah, it rings a bell. I don't remember what happens on it.
They're like in a house.
Sounds like a thing that's real.
They're all staying in a house, and like I wish I could remember what happened, but I have this really distinct memory of it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Write us in, listeners.
Okay, next one is from Robot Claw. Also, what are the odds the final Resident Evil movie ends with Alice waking up in the shower from 1. Sorry.
So they said this, and I was like, "Holy shit, that is genius!" Like,
I
also
mean,
ridiculous, but like, what do you want it to end normally?
It's hard to tell if it's just the trailer, but they're pretty heavy on the first movie fan service in the trailer. So I'm wondering if if that's going to be reflected in the movie. So there you go. All right, next one, also from Robot Claw, commentary track on 1, so Resident Evil 1, confirms Alice is named Alice for Alice in Wonderland. There you go. Were we talking about why she was named Alice?
Well, because Schnars was like, thought she was a character from the games because he's a dummy.
Oh, Evan, our own Evan Sleed tweeted us that he was like,
he got way mad,
screaming at his phone because we were getting all the Resident Evil lore stuff wrong.
Sorry,
also,
bro. This is my show. I retain the right to just say ignorant shit about stuff you like. So
he's gonna be doing some more Resident Evil Let's Play videos for BGH. So keep an eye out for those. YouTube.com/BGH.
What you buying?
Vidya.
What you buying?
What are you buying? There you go. Next one is from franchise. I love this. I can't wait to talk about it. This is from franchise MPLS. Do you guys remember the slide whistle episode where Joe drives down high school memory lane?
Do I remember it? I had to go back and edit it so I could put that stupid
I am
slide
not
whistle
kidding.
in.
I will send a BGH t-shirt to the person who tracks down that episode because I listened to that particular segment dozens of times and laughed so hard. For those of you who are not familiar,
it was the day Joe figured out how the internet works.
Yeah, so if for those of you who are not familiar, we went down a little bit of a tangent, as we're known to do, and Joe dropped the full name of a girl that he dated in high school, or a girl that was, or I can't remember. But Eric went back and edited it.
No, we didn't date. We just had one beautiful evening together.
Yeah, it was. We were talking about who Joe lost his virginity to.
And Eric,
oh, that wasn't her. That's a whole different story.
Oh, really?
Most brilliant edit in BGH history, edited in the most ridiculous slide whistle I've ever heard. And
because Joe literally said her first name.
Yeah.
He said where she went to high school. No, you said no. You said her whole name.
Yeah.
You said where she went to high school.
She was part of on Facebook.
You said the group name that she was a part of on Facebook, and then I went, "Are you sure you want to say that?" And he said, "Well, I don't know. What? It doesn't matter. You can't find her." And literally, all of us went, and we found her in like 5 seconds. And then after the show, he's like, "Yeah, maybe you should go bleep that."
Oh my God, it is. It's amazing.
It was a beautiful evening.
It's only funnier if you know what's behind the slide whistles, which no one else can know.
I will make good on that promise. The first person to find that episode gets a BGH t-shirt because it's spooky season and I'm feeling generous.
Speaking of filling up a turkey baster.
Oh God. Oh, don't. Yeah, we've got like 6 turkey baster tweets coming up, so brace yourself. Next one is from Pitman1382, who still owns a turkey baster / and who is sending pre-filled ones for Christmas.
We have one.
Hashtag, I was gonna say we have one.
I've never used it though. I've literally
don't baste.
Never used it.
Hashtag don't baste.
Don't baste. Come on, guys, that's funny. No,
I like the don't baste hashtag.
I'm all about the baste.
All
right,
turkey.
Dad.
All right,
that's
next
a Megan Trainor joke.
God, it's terrible. Next one is from Boosh Moose 27.
Okay.
Did you find yourself also not being able to breathe?
Yeah, it's pretty tense. I
had
definitely
very intense asthma when I was a kid. That joke is offensive to me, and so is the title of this movie.
I definitely couldn't breathe out my butt the whole time because it was clenched so hard.
I was gonna say, I think I like was clenching Kyle's arm a little tight, and he was like, "It's been a really long time since you've really been into a movie."
I hands down, like during the basement scene, I was like leaning forward, like slack jawed, like just mouth open. Like I looked like I had some sort of like mental patient problem.
I definitely turned my head to the side at one point.
My theater has a row. My theater has a row of like 15 Coke Freestyle machines, and I got vanilla Diet Barks root beer. I got a giant like tub of it, and it was delicious.
Did that help you like enjoy the show more, or did you just have to pee through the whole thing?
I wanted to dip my balls in it.
God,
this has
that
to
might
be with
hurt.
Spanish women, but
what I wouldn't give for a Coke Freestyle endorsement. Boy, you know what I really love? A refreshing vanilla Diet Barks root beer from a Coca-Cola freestyle.
like
Those
it.
machines are great. Where
And
you
I
can
never
add,
get
like,
soda at the movie theater because it's way too much and it's too expensive. But I just had a moment and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get a goddamn soda.
Cece, as a resident of the state where
adult.
Coca-Cola was invented, how do you feel about the freestyle machine?
Oh my god, it's so cool.
Coke is great, and yes, we have freestyle machines pretty much everywhere here.
Have you been to the factory, taking the tour? Now?
Kyle does the PR for Coca-Cola, but I haven't been. He's there's promotional photos of Kyle at the Coca-Cola at World of Coke,
really?
that are pretty entertaining.
Dear Lord, he's been on Family Feud. He's
I know. If you were, he's a mover
celebrity.
and shaker in Atlanta.
Is there video of him on Family Feud? I'd like to see this.
There will be. It's either during. It's gonna. November through February. So when I know, I'll let you know.
Hasn't aired yet?
Do I?
Hasn't aired yet?
No, not yet.
Have they shot it yet?
Yes.
Wow, exciting.
Does he say something totally embarrassing and Steve Harvey gives him the Steve Harvey look?
Please keep us in the loop, and if it happens on Slack, someone let me know directly, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, yes. He only got 14 points during a Fast Money, and you're supposed to make 200.
Jesus, Kyle,
he was in the final feud.
Well, that happened. Like if you you can get to a game, so
Interesting.
You can get to it every game.
There are heats and qualifiers.
I was gonna say I can't talk about it, but you can get 2 parts of it.
Too much inside baseball. All right, next one. This is from JD Super. Do you think turkey basters have been underused in horror?
No, I think they're overused now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say the number of times I've heard and said the word turkey baster in the past week is making me increasingly uncomfortable, and I'd be happy if I never had to say it again. But I'm going to have to because there's more tweets about it.
It's it's a weird, even divorced from the situation in the movie, it's a weird utensil.
Thanksgiving's right around the corner, guys.
Yeah, and it's always like old industrial rubber too. It's really weird.
You're all welcome to the house if you guys want to go.
Well, you don't want your baster to break. Next one is from Nick Allman Scott. Did this film oh my god, a serious question? Did this film establish Fede Alvarez as one of the top modern horror directors?
I think one more might. I think this definitely puts him up there as a contender. I think if he comes out with another film as tense and interesting as this, he's right up there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I mean, at the very least, we'll be interested to see whatever he does next. Although I actually saw, I had his Wikipedia up earlier, and he's wacky, and I will bring it up real quick. He's got some things he's got coming up. There's a TBD Evil Dead sequel that people have been talking about. He's doing an adaptation of Dante's Inferno, the video game, which is fascinating. Not anything to do with Dante's Inferno, the film, certainly. And he's apparently directing a movie called Monster Apocalypse in either 2018 or 2019, which is based on some sort of video game or card game or something.
Monster Apocalypse is a pretty good name.
Yeah, it's a miniatures game. So it seems like a very interesting choice for that. I'd like, he seems to be diversely talented, so excited to see what he's got going on.
Yeah, plus great hair, as we established.
Yeah, he's a handsome bloke. Next one.
Salt and pepper.
It's from Pitman1382. What new horror TV series are you guys looking forward to? They announced the next 9 episodes of Stranger Things.
Hey,
so
I watched one more episode of Stranger Things, so I've now watched 4. It's getting pretty real, even in episode 4, so I'm not sure where the hell it's going to go from here.
Are you it's just a time thing?
Yeah, I got a baby.
Right.
Babies.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to The Exorcist TV show. Kind of interested. Mostly because they're filming that here in Chicago, so.
I pretty much need a billion. My 3 seasons is my cutoff. If a show's been amazing and I've been hearing about it for 3 seasons, then I watch it. So I don't look forward to upcoming shows until someone tells me they're really good. Because they're just huge time investments. It's rare.
You'll really be watching Vice Principals, Eric.
It's rare that I would even watch
So
something like Stranger Things in the first season, but it's just the word of mouth has been so good. I was like, all right, let's check this out.
It's so good. It's just makes me feel warm inside. Next one is from 40 Ounce Heroes. With films like Late Phases and Don't Breathe, it's obvious that we should be wary of blind people. Sorry, not a question.
Oof.
No.
Jesus.
Come on, man.
Controversial.
What was Late Phases?
Late Phases was the
It's like the werewolf movie.
Oh, the old guy.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah.
he blind?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I think he is.
Yes, he is.
I did not.
He was
see
also
that.
he was also very grumpy. But yeah, that's an offensive comment. Next one. This is from Trapper John 1210.
MD.
I thought Don't Breathe was delightful, or maybe a turkey baster full of win. Hashtag Ask BGH. This is how Ask BGH works, right? Sure is. You got your question on the show. Yeah, I mean, this movie is delightful. Like, I'd like to think that we're all joking about the turkey baster thing because it makes us all extremely uncomfortable, not because we thought it was an actual viable.
Thanksgiving is definitely going to be weird when I'm cooking this year.
Yeah.
I will not be the one
You know
basting.
what? I'm
turkey.
just gonna use a spoon.
Oh, I'm a master baster.
Joe.
God damn with
Nope.
the
What?
dad jokes.
Nope.
Don't baste. All right, this last one is from that baseball Joe.
Make your palms
Shouldn't
hairy.
Shouldn't the tagline to Don't Breathe be "Get a daughter"?
Oh, why you gotta ruin it for me?
Yeah, that's kind of a funny joke. That's a low key funny joke. I like it. There you go. That's all we got for Ask BGH. Thank God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wowie wow wow.
This show really jumped the turkey.
What's going on with that tweet with BGH?
Tweet with BGH this Sunday. Watching Resident Evil, and be on the lookout for the Resident Evil drinking game at bloodygoodhorror.com.
I heard
Thursday,
a rumor
which
that
is
they're
most
gonna.
likely when you'll be hearing the show.
I heard a rumor that they're gonna do all the Resident Evil movies. That's gonna take like an entire year.
Yep.
I hope they take a break and do other movies. That seems like too much.
I think it's also gonna gnaw away at their sanity.
Yeah, I
I
think
was gonna say, I'm pretty sure they'll probably alternate.
I think that might be too much to bite off at once, but we'll
Just
see.
thinking about it makes me twitch.
Yeah.
Who
If
knows
you
where we'll all
would
be
like
by
to
then.
watch and live stream this show while we record, check out patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror. You can get access to every single back episode we've ever recorded in a Google Drive. You can watch us live with video while we're recording, and you get a t-shirt, and there's actually going to be some new swag hopefully coming up soon. Mark, we're working on a t-shirt design.
Yeah, we got a t-shirt coming up, and we also have something real fun that I can't talk about yet.
Yeah,
but it will be a gift to our longtime patrons.
Awesome. I don't even know what that is, so that sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then next week, so this coming weekend is Labor Day weekend. We're going to take a week off, and then we're going to be back in the theaters for, I think, The Disappointments Room, and then try to do Morgan the week after that. You know, if not, worst case, we'll catch up with Morgan when it comes out of DVD, because we all wanted to see that. Yeah, that's going to do it, guys. Bloody Good Horror. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll talk to you soon.
Adios.
See ya.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.